I found out in May of 2006. I had a family history of breast cancer. My mother and my aunt on my mother's side both had breast cancer. They were much older, in their 50s and 60s. I was 37 at diagnosis.
Wow.
Well, I was diagnosed with stage 2B, which is not real advanced, but because breast cancer in younger women can be very aggressive, my age alone meant that I automatically had to have chemotherapy. So I had 6 rounds of chemotherapy, followed by 34 rounds of radiation. I opted to have a double mastectomy because of my age and the family history, and I just didn't want to go through this again several years from now. So I had some pretty major surgery and reconstruction done also in May. Well, everybody says you go through these stages, right? You go through the anger stage and the denial stage and all that. I don't know that I did all of that, because I think with the family history, I knew it was something that there was a higher chance that I would face one day. I certainly didn't think it would happen at this age, but it's almost like I had in the back of my mind what I would do if it ever happened. So, with the support of my family and, my mother-in-law and the people at work, it was just more of a, let's get busy and fight this thing. I never felt like I was fighting for my life, but I think once it's all said and done and it's over and the treatment stops is honestly the scariest time. At least it was for me, because you're no longer actively fighting it, and I think the reality of what you've just been through and what was going on kind of hits you after you get done with that warrior phase, so to speak. I think that when you go through anything in life that's challenging, you look to your peer group for support, and my peer group was, they just had no way to relate to what I was going through. My mother-in-law had some friends who sent me a book called Fighting for Our Future. And turns out it was a movie as well that was on Lifetime television, and it's all about younger women and breast cancer, and it really, really spoke to me. I just looked at it and I thought, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been needing. So it led me to a website called the Young Survival Coalition, which is an international group that dedicates all of their efforts and their fundraising and everything to younger women with breast cancer. I had heard about a couple of other young women in the area, and I actually met one of them. She picked me up at the grocery store. I was at Publix with my bandana on with no hair, right? And she walks up, taps me on the shoulder, and she says, "Are you going through chemo?" Turns out she was 1 year younger than me. She lives on Wilmington Island with me, like a mile away. She was diagnosed a week after me. And then through her and through some other people, I also met another woman, lives on Wilmington Island, same age as me, and she was diagnosed a week before me. So we kind of got together and started talking, and I told them that the Young Survival Coalition had this concept called a community volunteer group, which it's not a chapter, it's not an affiliate like, Komen has a big affiliate here. It's just it could just be one person. And I thought, well, maybe this is the way to go. So we talked about it, and we said, yeah, we all felt the same way. We all felt that need to be able to reach out to people in our own peer group. So we decided to start a community volunteer group here in Savannah, and now we've grown to about 15 people we have some volunteers, but most of them are survivors. It's kind of disheartening that the group is growing, because I don't like the fact that we keep having young women in Savannah diagnosed with breast cancer, but at the same time I'm happy they're finding us, because our purpose is support and just to make a difference for the young women in Savannah so that they realize they don't have to go through this alone.